Air India was founded by J.R.D. Tata in 1932 as Tata Airlines. Tata Airlines was then nationalized to Air India in July 1946. Once regarded as a little jewel of airlines, Air India flied around 3 million passengers daily. Now, the question which arises is, how did a company having such a major brand image got overburdened with loan and debt? What are the reasons responsible for its failure? Well, let's find out. Let's start by understanding the legacy of Air India. In the 1970s, Air India saw difficult times, suffering a net loss in 3 of the years between 1970 to 85. Let's have a look at major factors which stressed the operations of Air India from 70s to mid of 80s. Plunge in world economy had a significant effect on air travel throughout the world, including India. Air India kept operating on unprofitable routes simply for prestige issues. Example, flights to Canada and New York were flying at 55% capacity, resulting in loss of revenue. Also, to compete for American and European travelers with international airlines, Air India had to reduce its fares. Another reason was loss of tourism due to communal violence and assassination of PM Indira Gandhi. Despite these problems, Air India's productivity was high, with per-employee production of 439,000 rupees. In the 1987-88 fiscal year, Air India lost US $23 million. To curb such losses, then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi made Rajan Jetli chairman of Air India. Rajan Jetli believed that Air India was overstaffed, mired in petty negotiations with unions, and struggling under difficult working conditions. Plus, some bureaucratic meddling and high ATF taxes made Air India operations difficult and expensive. Air India had very less non-stop flights to international location as compared to its peers. This was mainly because of pilots' refusal to fly for more than straight 9 hours. Plus, Air India did much of its refueling outside of India's borders. To revive Air India from losses, Rajan Jetli took various operational and functional measures, like convincing the government to reduce its gasoline tax, convincing the pilots to fly longer flights, increasing number of flights to Europe and buying new planes, ordering new logo and redesigning of the plane's decor, adjusting the timing of flights to make it convenient for passengers to connect with other flights, promoting passengers to more profitable business class seats, making Frankfurt in Germany a hub and thus enabling passengers to connect to other European cities. With these key changes in effect, Air India saw a new life. Revitalized Air India saw record profits of US $41 million in the year 1989-90 and profits of US $42 million in the next financial year 90-91. Succeeding Jetli, Yogesh Deveshwar outlined the airline's direction for the 1990s. He expanded the carrier's US routes to include Chicago, Los Angeles and Newark to attract ethnic Indian. He also focused on increasing the cargo market share for Air India. Nevertheless, Air India lost $171 million in the 3 years beginning with 1994-95. To curb the losses, Air India took several measures, namely, dropping Canada, Australia, and South Africa as routes from itinerary, offering $150 million annual North American income streams as debt securities, selling its Hotel Corporation of India subsidiary and some older Boeing 747s, maintaining code-sharing deals with Air France, SAS, Singapore Airlines and Austrian Airlines. Despite these measures, Air India continued to suffer loss. In fact, it lost US $44 million in 1997-1998. In 2001, attempts were made to re-privatize Air India, but the bid failed due to political opposition. Also, slowdown in world economy made companies less willing to part with their cash. Civil Aviation charged Michael Mascarenhas, the then managing director, with corruption. According to the ministry, Air India lost 570 million rupees because of extra commissions that Mascarenhas sanctioned. Air India along with Indian Airlines were facing tough competition from private low-cost airlines. To withstand the competition, the then Civil Aviation Minister, Praful Patel, merged the two airlines. Air India's, Indian Airlines' combined losses were 8 billion in 2006-2007, which increased to 72 billion after merger by March 2009. There was a 800% increase in losses in just 2 years. Let's look at major failures of the merger. Difference between aircraft flown by the two companies led to incomplete integration of officials. Position of IT systems and infrastructure. Employee unions were incompatible, plus merger left Air India overemployed with 214 people per flight. Company's reputation was failing among customers, hence loss of revenues. In addition to these, Air India had 5-day-a-week working, whereas Indian Airlines had 6 days a week. Pilots of Air India were promoted after 10 years of service, whereas in Indian Airlines pilots were promoted once every 6 years. There was a delay in integration of online ticket reservation systems of both companies. And lastly, high cost of aviation fuel, decreasing passenger traffic due to recession, unnecessary and costly acquisition of aircraft fleet, leadership crisis. Air India had 4 CEOs in 2 years. Merger with Indian Airlines had caused Air India irrecoverable losses. But there is ray of hope. Air India saw profit in year 2017 due to lower cost of aviation fuel. Plus the current government is considering to privatize Air India. If Tata Group buys it, then Air India will complete a full circle. Well, it's just a thought.